Right now, keeping hope alive. The Brewers' bats were swinging last night as the team got it done in a must-win Game 6. What's next for the Brew Crew? And the Badgers are back in Madtown for a homecoming matchup against the Illini. We're breaking down 3 things to watch for today's game.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good Saturday morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It is 5 o'clock on this October 20th. Welcome to the weekend. I'm Josh Breiter with meteorologist Chris Reese, and really not too bad out there compared to some of the mornings we've had lately.
It's really not. I'm just shocked that you said it's October 20th.
Crazy.
I can't believe it. Time is flying out there, and pretty soon it's going to begin to feel like November, especially today as well. We're going to have another little cold front to move on through. Here's a live look outside right now. Maybe, if that comes up. We essentially have clear skies out there. There we go. Temperatures right now are the warmest that they will be pretty much all day long. We're at 44 degrees. Winds are calm, and they're going to continue to drop, actually, as we go throughout the day. I want to go ahead and zoom out and show you this. Low 40s across south central Wisconsin, but 30s across the northern half of the state. But overall, we are cooler than we were at this time yesterday. Parts of Minnesota, 20 to 30 degrees cooler than they were this time yesterday. And all of that cool air is gradually working its way towards the south and east. And now as it does so, there's a weak little system that is coming along with it that is bringing some light snow and flurries to parts of the northern half of the state. We'll see that on the southern half of the state later on today, but it will also be very windy. Wind chills will be a factor. There are some wind advisories for our neighbors just to our south and west. Right now, though, winds are light, but we're really going to see those kick up into the afternoon. So here we are with that cold front coming through and that light rain and snow mix probably around 11.
All right, lots to watch.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chris. Developing overnight, Madison police are investigating a complaint of shots being fired on the city's south side. Police say it stemmed from a possible fight involving 20 people. It happened in the 2100 block of Luann Lane just after 11 last night. Police say the group was gathered in the parking lot of a bar in that area when they heard shots and ran. Right now, Madison police say no one was injured and nothing was damaged, but they are still looking for the people involved this morning. Well, all they need is one more win. After a 7-2 victory overnight, the Brewers have forced a Game 7 in the National League Championship Series. News 3's Melissa Kim is at Miller Park with the very latest.
Well, yesterday before Game 6, Craig Counsell told us that he hoped the Miller Park crowd would help the Brewers beat the Dodgers. And with a little more help from the bats of Mike Moustakas and Jesus Aguilar, the Brewers did just that.
You couldn't describe it as any bigger. I mean, it just, it lifted the roof off the place, and the first inning was loud from then on.
It means a lot to us to see that they're behind us all the way, no matter what. And you were right. Tonight was just so loud. I thought they were going to open the roof. It was just unbelievable.
The electricity in that stadium, once we had that big first inning, it carried us throughout the rest of the game.
Definitely no shortage of experience on this team, from lifelong Brewer Ryan Braun to a guy with World Series experience like Mike Moustakas. And they both know that this team has got it.
We have that never say die attitude. We're never going to quit, no matter what the score is, where we're at in the ball game. Everybody pulls for each other. And that's just a sign of good baseball teams.
I mean, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
It feels more meaningful to have an opportunity to play with somebody who's truly a friend of mine. I've known him since he was in high school. I've known Gio Gonzalez since he was in high school as well. So just adding both of those guys, for me personally, has made playing baseball more enjoyable and this whole experience a little bit more special.
So Josh Hader hasn't pitched since Game 4. That was on Tuesday in LA. So you can definitely expect to see him tonight. Now, when Craig Counsell was asked how many innings he would go, he said 12 and then laughed. So you can definitely expect to see him for at least one inning, I'll say. At Miller Park, Melissa Kim, News 3 This Morning.
All right, Melissa, thank you. With the series tied at 3 games apiece, it all comes down to tonight. Game 7 will be on FS1 at 7:09 our time. Before that game, Badgers fans are hoping to be the ones celebrating this afternoon. It is homecoming weekend for Wisconsin. The annual homecoming parade took over State Street last night. Phil the Hill Day also decked out Bascom Hill in pink flamingos as a fundraising effort for the university. This tradition dates back to 1979 when it was actually a prank pulled off by some students. The school's football team is looking for some redemption today after last week's loss to Michigan. The Badgers return to Camp Randall for their homecoming matchup against the Illini. News 3 Sports Director Jay Wilson has 3 things to watch for during today's game.
When the Badgers play Illinois at Camp Randall at 11 this morning, here are 3 things to watch. Paul Chryst says he thinks his team has moved on from its disappointing 38-13 loss at Michigan last Saturday. And recent history would suggest that's true. Right after their loss to BYU in Week 3, the Badgers put together an impressive road win at Iowa, and they've had pretty good success playing Illinois. Wisconsin has won the last 8 meetings. One guy who really needs to get back on track is Badger quarterback Alex Hornibrook. He had a real struggle at Michigan, completing only 7 of 20 passes for 100 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. On the season, though, he still completed 60% of his passes with 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, but he looks to get refocused for the second half of the season starting today. And when Wisconsin plays Illinois, something strange always seems to happen. Last year, it was this backward pass to offensive lineman Michael Dieter, who scored his first and only collegiate touchdown. The Badgers shouldn't have to rely on trickery to beat the Illini today, but it's good to know it's there if they need it. And those are 3 things to watch when Wisconsin plays Illinois this morning.
Kickoff is set for 11 o'clock, but the festivities start much earlier. The homecoming Badger Bash begins at 8:30 this morning at the Union South. Well, Governor Walker and Tony Evers were in the matchup of their own last night. They were not afraid to trade jabs over a number of key issues in the race for governor, including education, taxes, healthcare, and roads. The debate kicked off with questions over credibility in light of the news that 4 of Walker's former cabinet secretaries are criticizing him. Walker accused Evers of plagiarizing part of the Department of Public Infrastructure's budget request. Both candidates shrugged off those questions.
I'm not afraid to have people with diverse opinions in my cabinet. For years, I had a cabinet member who wanted to raise the gas tax, and I told the voters clearly I would never raise the gas tax without an equal or greater reduction elsewhere.
If this is the best Scott Walker has, he doesn't have much, I'll tell you that. We dropped a few citations from the back pages of a budget. We talked to the people involved. It was a mistake, and they fixed it.
About whether they'll support
a key issue in the race, roads, with news that Wisconsin has some of the worst in the country right now. Evers criticized Walker's lack of action, while Walker said Evers will hike up the gas tax to pay for them.
Tony said the day after the primary, right here in Madison, everything's on the table. He was asked, does that include a $1 a gallon gas tax increase? He said everything's on the table.
$1 a gallon is ridiculous. It's never going to happen. But let's go back to what doesn't work. Scott Walker's policies. Scott Walker has drawn a line in the sand around transportation, and as a result, our roads are crumbling.
Walker said Wisconsin can protect people with pre-existing conditions without keeping the Affordable Care Act, but Evers supported the ACA and is encouraging Walker to drop out of a lawsuit that would repeal it. After this summer's historic flooding, people in Middleton are asking for donations to help a woman who has been instrumental in developing the city's award-winning trails and parks. Penny Klein retired last year after 16 years as the city's public lands director. Her farmette experienced devastating flooding this August, and the community has already exceeded a $10,000 goal to help her recover. If you'd like to help, Club Tavern is hosting a spaghetti and meatball dinner and silent auction tomorrow to support her. Starts at 2 o'clock and runs until 7. Catholic Charities of Madison is giving out more than 250 gift cards to flooding victims in Sauk County. On October 25th, families can pick up those cards worth $100 apiece at St. Joseph's Catholic Church in Baraboo. They'll be handed out on a first-come, first-served basis starting at 4 p.m. that day. Construction crews in Mazomanie are working on fixing an overpass and washed-out trail that were damaged during the historic August floods. They're working on the U.S. Highway 14 viaduct and the Wolf Trail, which runs below the overpass. The bridge will remain open to traffic during construction. We're told work should be done by mid-December with a cost of more than $650,000. There's a special celebration taking place this weekend, welcoming everyone back to downtown Sun Prairie. It comes 3 months after an explosion killed a Sun Prairie firefighter and leveled several buildings. The city is hosting its annual Fall Festival today. This year's event comes with added meaning. It's the first major event the city's putting on since the explosion. From 4 until 9, the Downtown is Open celebration will encourage people to visit Sun Prairie and support newly reopened businesses near the explosion site. The festival is free, but money raised from sponsorships and beer sales will be split between the Sun Prairie Disaster Relief Fund and the downtown business beautification efforts. If you're driving through the area, keep in mind that 200 block of Main Street will be closed starting at 1 o'clock. 10 minutes past 5 right now, and a very fall-like weekend set for Badgers fans and farmers market shoppers. Here's a live look outside to start us off. Still very dark out there at 5:10 this morning. Chris is in next with the full weekend forecast. And if you're hunkering in this weekend, there are several shows and movies for you to enjoy. Will has your 3 things to watch coming up next on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Lucky Down.
Well, good morning. It's a little chilly out here to start your Saturday, but the thing is, that gets worse as we go throughout the day. Temperatures now are about as warm as they are going to be going through your Saturday. Thankfully, not the warmest part of the weekend. Here's a live look outside right now. It is 44 degrees, and those winds are calm at the moment. And we find temperatures across all of south central Wisconsin in the low to mid 40s. Now, across the northern half of the state, that's where temperatures are in the 30s, and that cooler air is working its way down south. Already we are seeing anywhere from about a 15 to 25 degree temperature difference to our north and west. Here in Madison, we are about 6 degrees cooler than we were at this time yesterday. Now, this cold front coming in is going to bring a weak little disturbance with it. The key word being weak. It's bringing some light showers and some flurries to the northern parts of the state as of now. We don't have them here in southern Wisconsin yet, but we will later on through the morning. Here we are at 7 o'clock. Notice the temperature at that point, 42, dropping towards 39 by 11 o'clock. That's when the cold front gets in here, bringing that light mix of some rain and light snow. It won't amount to much. It'll be very short-lived as it works its way on to the south and east. By 2 o'clock, temperatures will be in the upper 30s with winds still gusting, and then by tonight, under that clear sky, will fall into the mid-20s. But let's go ahead and show you how the winds are going to respond. Here we are at 2 o'clock once again. Remember the temperature, 38, winds sustained at 22 miles per hour, likely gusting greater than 35 miles per hour at times. That's the reason that we're going to bring the wind chill into play. So if you're out downtown or out at that game today, wear a jacket. It is going to feel like the upper 20s. And then later on tonight, feeling like the low 20s before we get those winds to relax. By this time tomorrow morning, it'll actually feel like the air temperature. The problem is that air temperature will be right around 24 to 25 degrees. Now, the winds coming in today will take out a lot of leaves, but thankfully tomorrow and Monday will be some great raking days if you are planning to do that. Speaking of leaves, though, we're going to be peaking right about now. We're right on that edge of near peak and peak, and as we go through the next couple of days, we'll finally see those colors really begin to do their thing before all the leaves begin to fall off if they survive that wind out there today. But other than that, it is sunshine going through all of next week with more rain chances returning by next weekend.
I feel like we've gotten to enjoy a little bit of color out there, but it's been kind of a bummer this year, Chris, as far as the leaves.
It has, but as someone from the South where we get like no color, I thought it was fantastic. And, you know, we did see some beautiful trees right here around the station, Josh.
Just got to be positive, Chris. I love it.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks so much.
Anytime.
What is being called the largest event in Notre Dame history, and it's happening tonight. Garth Brooks is performing in the school's football stadium. It's the first standalone concert the field has hosted in its 88-year history. Crews have been working around the clock to transform the stadium into a concert venue. 9,000 people are going to be on the stadium's floor, so much of the preparation being done is to make sure the turf is protected. The more than 84,000 tickets for the now sold-out event were gone in less than 2 hours. Wow. The Broadway hit Wicked is celebrating 15 years with a TV special called A Very Wicked Halloween. Ariana Grande took to Twitter this week to promote her role in the upcoming special. The entertainer will be performing the song The Wizard and I, the solo number usually performed by Elphaba. The televised concert will feature former and current cast members, including, of course, the original Elphaba, and Glinda, Idina Menzel, and Kristen Chenoweth. A Very Wicked Halloween airs on Monday, October 29th. Well, you don't have to wait to watch something entertaining. Fall just feels like the perfect time to kick back, flip on your TV, and relax. Our Will Loper has your 3 things to watch this weekend.
I wish I could fight bad guys like you.
I seem to mess it up almost every time.
New on home video this week is the superhero film Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Maybe you just need someone watching your back.
Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly team up to take down new bad guys, shrinking and growing along the way.
Dr. Pym, I actually heard what happened to you. You opened up the quantum realm. That's when this crazy creepy ghost who like walks through walls and stuff. Stole your tech. And now she wants to take over the world or whatever. Who would have believed that in your hour of need, you would turn to us?
Not me.
Because we robbed you. Do you remember? That's us.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Oh! That on the carriage is filthy.
Wow, they got bigger problems.
I just really need a job. 40 on 2.
This is telemarketing.
Stick to the script.
New on digital streaming is Sorry to Bother You.
Hey, hello. Mr. Davison, Cassius Green here. Sorry to bother.
Lakeith Stanfield stars as a telemarketer who discovers a secret to success.
Let me give you a tip. You want to make some money here? Use your white voice.
My white voice?
I'm never talking about Will Smith's wife, like this young blood.
Hey, Mr. Kramer. This is Langston from Regal View. As always, we'll be getting that out to you right away.
Sorry to Bother You is available to rent or buy on all digital platforms now.
Everybody ready? Get the show on the road!
And continue to get in the mood for Halloween with The Cabin in the Woods.
I seriously believe something weird is going on.
This isn't right. We should split up.
Yeah, good idea. Really?
Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard bend the horror genre with 5 teens going to the woods as their experience is manipulated by technicians in an underground facility.
Let's go. We got a job to do. Your basic human needs disgust me. Get out of here. Do we have temperature control in this sector? On it. Engaging pheromone mists.
The Cabin in the Woods is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
Let's get this party started.
Happy watching. Those are the 3 things you need to watch. And this is Will Loper for News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
The sequel to the popular Making a Murderer documentary series is now on Netflix. The first series told the story of Stephen Avery and his nephew Brendan Dassey, who were convicted in the 2005 slaying of Wisconsin photographer Teresa Halbach. The 2 are serving life sentences. The sequel, Making a Murderer 2, will follow their appeals. Well, it is 21 minutes past the hour, and NASA's newest way to monitor melting ice caps and rising temperatures is taking us along on a tour this morning. We're climbing on board the IceSat-2 to see how quickly the change is happening and what scientists hope to do to stop it. News 3 This Morning, Saturday, will return in a moment.
Well, good morning out there. Clear skies at the moment. Temperatures are starting out in the low to mid 40s for a lot of us. This is the warmest we will be just about all day long. Going through the afternoon, or through the morning rather, we're going to gradually begin to notice temperatures fall a little bit. So 44 to 42 this morning, increasing showers. By the afternoon, we could see some flurries mixing in with that as well. Temperatures will be in the upper 30s towards 2 o'clock. Josh?
Thanks, Chris. 5:25 right now. Wisconsin farmers are busy this weekend taking part in a historic harvest as some get ready to send their hemp plants off to processors. The state launched a pilot program this year requiring farmers to become certified to grow hemp. 250 farmers are licensed to grow it, and more than 1,800 acres were planted this year. The DATCP tests hemp plants to make sure they have less than a 0.3% THC. That's the psychoactive chemical found in marijuana. This is the first time since the 1950s Wisconsin farmers have been allowed to harvest hemp. NASA's newest satellite designed to measure ice sheets over the North and South Poles is in its permanent orbit this morning. NASA relies on Operation Icebridge to send planes to Antarctica to study how fast ice sheets are melting. Mark Phillips takes us there.
Too low terrain. The crew on these NASA flights over Antarctica hear the automatic cockpit alarm go off a lot. Altimeter setting. Altimeter setting. It's what happens when you convert a 50-year-old plane into an airborne lab and fly it really low over the Antarctic ice cap. But 1,500 feet is where you have to be for the lasers and radars and cameras to gather the best data they can on what the ice is doing. And what it's doing is melting at an ever quicker rate.
Are you seeing less of it? Is it moving more quickly? Is it melting more quickly? In very general terms, all three things you just said are correct. Yeah, we are seeing, in general, less ice.
And less ice, mission scientist John Sontag says, means more rise to the world's sea levels. It's not easy being a government climate scientist these days, not when the chief executive of the government rejects or ignores your work. As President Trump confirmed again to Leslie Stahl this week on 60 Minutes.
Yeah, but what about the scientists who say it's worse than ever?
You'd have to show me the scientists because they have a very big political agenda.
Yet up here they insist they have no agenda. They let the data do the talking, and the data is not in denial.
You know, we're not politicians here. We're not policy people. We're just engineers and scientists. I don't know anything about politics, but I do know how to measure changing ice.
Which isn't to say they aren't passionate about what they do.
When I look out the window, I just see like artwork almost. It's just so beautiful.
Lynette Boisvert is a sea ice scientist who isn't here just to look out of the office window.
The better we can understand how the ice reacts with the ocean, the better we can be informed for the future of what could possibly happen with climate change.
Down here at the bottom of the world, there is no politics, there is only science. And the scientists on board can only gather their data and hope somebody's listening. It's fact. So people can't hide from facts forever, and I think the American people understand that. Your hope is that the science prevails. Yeah, my hope is that the science prevails, and I think it will, because in the long path of human history, it always has.
Science and hope, 1,500 feet above the ice.
The advanced ICESat-2 has been traveling since its launch last month from California. It replaced a satellite that failed in 2009. 5:28 is your time right now. Still ahead this morning, the construction delays you should know about heading into a very busy homecoming weekend at the UW. And hitting home, a nationwide emergency worker shortage is hurting Wisconsin and its response efforts. Several local agencies are hiring. How you can get involved on News 3 this morning, Saturday.
You
A nationwide worker shortage hits Wisconsin. How this could impact the state's emergency services and response times when you call 911.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome back to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It is 5:32 on this October 20th. I'm Josh Breuder. Meteorologist Chris Reese has your weekend forecast in a moment, but first, after a 7-2 victory overnight, the Brewers have forced a Game 7 in the National League Championship Series. The Dodgers got a quick lead in the Game 6 Friday night, but it was short-lived. The Brew Crew would rally in the first inning with 4 runs. They ended up winning 7-2, setting the table for Game 7 tonight. First pitch is at 7:09 at Miller Park. You can watch the game on Fox Sports 1. Meanwhile, the Badgers' homecoming game is just hours away at Camp Randall. The team will take on the Fighting Illini. It's an early game with kickoff at 11 a.m. If you don't get tickets, you can watch that game on the Big Ten Network. The Badgers are currently 2-1 in conference games. Illinois is 1-2. Happening tomorrow, you have a chance to eat dinner and support a Middleton woman who has been instrumental in developing the city's award-winning parks and trails. Penny Klein retired last year after 16 years as the city's public lands director. Her farmette experienced devastating flooding in August, and the community has already exceeded a $10,000 goal to help her recover. If you'd like to help, Club Tavern is hosting a spaghetti and meatball dinner and silent auction tomorrow to support her. It starts at 2 and runs until 7. Right now, construction delays are forcing crews on Charter Street to shut down traffic between University Avenue and West Johnson Street until next year. They've been working on installing a steam tunnel since August. Because they're so far behind, they'll be closing off all lanes of traffic on Charter Street in that stretch until the work is done. Be sure to expect some delays, especially with a lot of folks on campus during homecoming weekend. 5:34 right now. Let's send it over to meteorologist Chris Reese for a first check of that forecast. Hey, Chris, good morning.
Good morning. Temperatures are rather cool out there. We're at 44, but this is going to be the warmest we are just about all day long. There's a cold front coming in, and our wind directions are going to be changing. Let's go ahead and show you temperatures across all of south central Wisconsin so far. You'll find most of them to be in the low to mid 40s, low 40s and upper 30s as you work your way towards the north. But this is the cold front gradually working its way towards the south and east. We're 6 degrees cooler than we were 24 hours ago here in Madison, but upwards of 20 to 25 degrees cooler across parts of the land of 10,000 lakes, and all of that is working its way to the south, bringing with it a weak little system that is touching off some light rain and snow to our north. That'll be in our parts of the state later on this morning and early afternoon. There are also wind advisories towards the south and west. It is going to get very windy this afternoon. Right now, they're coming out of the west at 7. Expect that to be out of the northwest at about 27 later on, and then there's that little light rain snow mix that'll dive on through. It will not amount to much. We are literally talking just a few light showers and flurries. Now, in terms of traffic on the Saturday morning, so far at this time of the morning, all is smooth, and that's what we like to see. Josh?
All right, Chris, thank you. Dispatch logs show several shots were fired at the Barron home where a missing Wisconsin teen lived with her parents. Officers were responding to a 911 call at the home early Monday when they discovered 2 people dead inside. The call log indicates the call came from a phone belonging to the mother, Denise Kloss. She and her husband, James, were found shot to death. Police say their daughter, 13-year-old Jamie Kloss, was likely home when they were murdered, but was not there when officers arrived. They believe she is in danger and say she is not a suspect in her parents' death. Investigators are looking into more than 1,000 tips in their search for Jamie. A Walworth County deputy is on administrative leave this morning following an officer-involved shooting. A deputy shot and killed a man in Elkhorn Thursday night. Officials say the deputy was involved in a chase and tried to stop the man from driving recklessly several times. During one of the stop attempts, the driver allegedly drove at the deputy, who then shot him. 911 centers in central Wisconsin are now feeling the effects of a nationwide shortage. Emergency dispatch centers across the country have been facing a worker shortage for years. It intensified with the nation's low unemployment rate. Brian Will explains.
Behind me in this building, behind these walls, sits 4 very important people with a very important job. They are the first responders, and they take those 911 calls.
I hope everything's okay, and I'll let the officers know, okay?
Those reassuring voices on the other end of a 911 call are human too. It's not an easy job, and the unsung heroes behind the phone go through a lot in one 10-hour shift.
From, taking a phone call of a mom screaming because her baby's not breathing compared to the next one saying that their dog got loose and just need to know who to call to report that their dog's missing.
There are 18 dispatchers on rotating shifts, with 4 people on at a time, and that's still not enough because the number of calls continue to go up every year.
The contacts that we have are professionals, and they make it look easy. It is not a job that anybody can do, and it takes those special individuals that can do this job. That's who we're looking for.
These people are very committed to the community, to Portage County. They are great what they do. We have unbelievable women and men that are up in that comm center.
Portage County, like many counties across the state and the nation, are understaffed in their 911 centers. Only about 50% of candidates who apply will actually make it through the training. Not only do operators have to take calls, dispatch calls, and take in all the information, they also have to give life-saving instructions or even be a person's counselor.
For answering calls of people not knowing who else to call except calling the sheriff's office or dialing 911 because they didn't know what else to do.
If you're up for the challenge,
we need them all the times now, so we have an open enrollment going on.
Waitresses, bartenders, all kinds of different individuals can be professional communication technicians.
Nash says they're looking for people who have great communication skills, can multitask, and think on their feet. 5:38 is your time right now. There's an effort this weekend to make sure kids in Dane County and thousands of miles away have enough food to eat. Volunteers are hoping to fill the Waunakee High School field house with more than 350,000 meals as part of the 13th annual Waunakee Food for Kids program. 75,000 of those meals will be distributed by the Community Action Coalition to kids in our area. 275,000 meals will go to an orphanage in Haiti. The Food for Kids program has donated more than 2.5 million meals over the past 12 years. 5:39 is your time. Are you looking for something to do this weekend? We've got some ideas for you and the family, from a busy weekend at the UW to a rocking show at the Orpheum. Your Weekend 608 is just ahead. Thanks for watching News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning. Clear skies and chilly out there, but it is the warmest will be just about all day. Temperatures are in the mid-40s as of now, but as we go through our morning, we might actually shave off a degree or two, but we'll be holding steady in the 40s initially. You'll see a round of some light showers come through, potentially ending with a few snowflakes mixed in as temperatures head towards the upper 30s this afternoon.
We're going backwards.
We are going backwards today. I call that the game of cold fronts.
Oh, gosh. All right, Chris, thanks so much. What is the weekend in the 608?
And here's a look at what's going on around town.
How about a little Stairway to Heaven? Get the Lead Out, a Led Zeppelin cover band from Philadelphia, is recreating the legendary music of the blues-influenced mystical rock band. This one is tomorrow night starting at 7:30 at the Orpheum Theater.
And it's time to get the red out. It's homecoming on the UW campus. The tradition started back in 1911. The Badger Bash starts at 8:30 this morning, and the Badgers will face Illinois this morning at 11.
Downtown Sun Prairie is officially back open for the first time in 3 months. The city is hosting its annual Fall Festival today starting at 11. Then from 4 until 9, the city is hosting its Downtown is Open, encouraging people to visit Sun Prairie and support newly reopened businesses near the explosion site. The festival is free, but money raised from sponsorships and beer sales will be split between the Sun Prairie Disaster Relief Fund and the downtown's business beautification efforts.
And as usual, pick up a copy of this month's Madison magazine for all of the best in the Madison area.
Well, it's feeling very fall-like out there, but as you mentioned, it's going to be kind of dropping throughout the day. Very crisp day for the farmers market, pumpkin patch, or the Badgers game.
That's right. You're looking live over the Capitol this Saturday morning. I'll have your full forecast coming up.
But first, happy birthday to Lila, Imani, and all of the other kiddos turning 3 today. This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Well, good Saturday morning to all of you out there. We're waking up. So far, we've got clear skies as we look out over the Capitol. A little bit chilly. Temperatures are in the mid-40s, so we are cooler than we were at this time yesterday. The caveat is that this is going to be pretty much our high for today. All across south central Wisconsin, we do see temperatures mainly in the low to mid 40s. A few upper 30s are showing up. Hello to our friends in Juneau. But as we zoom out and we take a look at the northern half of the state, you see the cooler air already starting to work its way towards the south and east. We are 6 degrees cooler than we were yesterday at this time in Madison, 10 degrees cooler in Marshfield, 20 degrees cooler as you work your way towards the Twin Cities and beyond. And so that's the next cold front coming into the picture. It's bringing a weak little system with it, and that weak system does have a little bit of some light drizzle and snowflakes with that. And we don't have that over the southern half of the state yet, but we are going to watch this system gradually dive towards the south and east in time. That's going to be kicking up the wind as well. So here we are at 11 o'clock. You see that weak little system coming in here. Temperatures are in the upper 30s at that point, low 40s further towards the south and east, and you'll have some rain with some light snow mixed in. That northwesterly wind really will kick up. So by 2 o'clock, we're at 38, and then temperatures drop into the mid and lower 20s overnight tonight for your lows. But let's go ahead and show you the wind speeds towards 2 o'clock as well. Here we are. You'll see wind speeds that are likely sustained at 20 to 25 miles per hour, gusting upwards of 35 to 40. And that's why the wind chill is going to be a big deal. So 38 degrees doesn't sound all too bad, but then you factor in the wind at the peak heating of the afternoon, folks. It could feel like the mid to upper 20s. So make sure that you actually do bundle up. By about 7 o'clock, it could feel like the low 20s in a lot of spots. Then our wind chills will kind of relax a little bit as we get towards tomorrow morning, because they'll be more so where our actual temperature will be. But those winds today will be screaming at times. Not a good day to rake because the leaves are all coming down off the trees. But tomorrow and Monday will be some good raking days. And speaking of all the leaves, the fall color report, we are right on the edge of near peak and peak. We have days until that peak comes on through, and then we'll probably get all those leaves coming off the trees if they are able to survive the winds out there today. Sunshine does return as we go through your Sunday. We're going to keep that sunshine around pretty much through all of next week. More rain chances, though, Josh, will return for next weekend with a morning mix possible by next Sunday. So here's DJ and Heidi in York for your pet walk forecast. And I have to admit, that is an adorable picture there.
Best buds.
Absolutely. If you're going to be out by about 3 o'clock, well, 38 degrees.
Yikes.
So, temps are falling, folks.
All right, maybe stay in and hunker in with the dog.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris, thank you. We have been asking you to share your morning with us. Check out this photo by Mark Mathwig.
Yes.
Such a beautiful. That's near Lake, Wisconsin. Thank you so much for sharing, Mark. So what does your morning look like? Be sure to post a photo to our Facebook page on channel3000.com or on the Twitter or Instagram and use that hashtag MyNews3Morning, and that's how we share our favorites right here on the program. Well, there is a full hour of News 3 this morning ahead at 8 o'clock, and coming up on our news at 6 and 10 tonight, we're going to head to Sun Prairie and check in on their festival 3 months after that deadly explosion. But first, Charlie Brown thought he saw the Great Pumpkin, but check this out. One of the biggest pumpkins ever grown in the Midwest was picked this week, but growing one of these massive gourds doesn't happen by chance. We'll hear from the proud farmer when News 3 This Morning Saturday continues. Welcome back at 5:55. That's a great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Remember when one of the classic cartoon characters thought he had a big pumpkin? Well, the only difference, this one is real.
And it's not, or well, it is really big, actually. Our sister station in Chicago has more on the man who grew one of the biggest pumpkins in the Midwest.
There's a lot of work that actually goes into getting a pumpkin this size.
1,510 pounds, top in the state, and it all starts with the right seed.
They're easy $400, $500 a piece. It's a bit of a risk. It's slightly a gamble. You pay $500 for a pumpkin seed, it might not even sprout.
Next up, the soil.
Send it off to the lab, get it tested, we get the results back, and we add the amendments in so that we have the perfectly balanced soil.
Joe Adkins even heats the soil with underground coils in the spring to jumpstart the growth.
It's almost like magical.
Magic, like the speed of the growth.
Rapid growth stage of these giant pumpkins, they can grow 50 pounds a day.
Another key, the water, and lots of it. Rainwater is best because it's filled with nutrients.
With the city water, they just don't grow as well. All right.
Like a surgeon, Adkins sets up his tools and gets ready to go to work carving.
You can already see, look, here's a nose here, and there's going to be some eyes right in here. I start carving them in July sometimes. The best part is absolutely when you get to the carving of the pumpkins. Carving this style here for maybe like 10 years or so.
Okay, how do you even move something like that?
I don't even know, but I couldn't stop but think that's all the pumpkin spice like the whole country needs right there.
There you go.
That one pumpkin. Well, speaking of orange, we're going to have a lot of sunshine going through next week. Today, we're going to see more cloud cover along with some rain and some light flurries as well. It will be very, very short-lived, but it's going to be very windy with temperatures coming down behind that. We'll see a low of 25 degrees tonight, but next week does look fantastic.
I feel like that's all you got to do is look at that.
Exactly. But then next weekend comes around. So make sure we enjoy these next several days.
Oh, we will.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Chris, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. CBS This Morning Saturday is coming up next. And be sure to join us right back here on Channel 3 at 8 o'clock for more News 3 This Morning.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.